I think a lot of people don't know this or are sitting with their head in the sand, but this is reality. People get discriminated, whether they're a woman, minority, or, and I even said this last night, somebody just may not like you. It may not have anything to do with your color or your gender. Talk about the story of the day of yesterday. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, and it's kind of like the biggest thing going on, not only because it deals with Blizzard and Activision, which is a big name in video games, but it's kind of a heavy topic, really heavy topic. Now, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, they filed an explosive lawsuit, according to Jason Schreier, against Activision Blizzard for discrimination. Some of the details in the complaint are horrifying, and I'm not going to go over all of them right now, but a lot of what was detailed in this lawsuit had to do with women who were sexually assaulted and harassed at company events, around the office, women's compensation were purposely held back for roles that men in similar roles were getting more for. There was one account of an African American woman having to write a one-page summary detailing what she will be doing to justify her time off requests. And another kind of a shocking, and I'm not even going to go through all of them, a shocking one, I think the one that stands out to me is that a suicide was tied to these allegations as well. So again, this is some very serious accusations, and this lawsuit made to Activision Blizzard. I think it makes the Ubisoft one look like a joke. With all that being said, like, I'm of the camp, and this is, either way, this is a tragic situation, but especially today, I am always pessimistic about what I read. I always take a wait and see approach. I always don't rush to judgment, no matter what the accusation or topic is. And you notice that a lot of my video game counterparts do not do that. They immediately start condemning people, canceling people, based on information that comes out. While I don't think Activision Blizzard is the best company in the world, and they probably have a bad reputation for a lot of this stuff, the things detailed in this document, to me, aren't shocking and surprising. Maybe because I spent a lot of years in corporate America and in these larger companies, and I've seen it firsthand. Not necessarily from a woman's perspective, but just from an outside view, and even with my dealings with a lot of this stuff. And this is reality. I think a lot of people don't know this or are sitting with their head in the sand, but this is reality. People get discriminated, whether they're a woman, minority, or, and I even said this last night, somebody just may not like you. It may not have anything to do with your color or your gender. They just may not like you, so they're going to make your life miserable. Because they have the power to do that. And this happens far too often, and it is sad. It's really sad that people get purposely held back. Their compensation gets destroyed for whatever reasons. People get groped. They get sexually assaulted. Hiring practices are made based on appearance more than anything, because some higher up wants to have some eye candy. And this is, I don't want to sound dismissive, but this is nothing new. This has been going on for decades. But it is serious. It is serious. I'm not saying I'm definitely not saying that this is not serious, that this is something that should be glossed over. It is definitely serious, and it should be taken seriously. And the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing should do something. And I would add, they should have did something a long time ago. Because this is not the first time this has happened, and this is not the only company this is happening to. Why they chose Activision Blizzard now is why I have my suspicions. As with most things that involve power and money, somebody got their feelings hurt. And when you got all the power and the money and the influence in politics, you get your feelings hurt. You have the power to do stuff like this, to move on things that are already happening. And again, I'm not saying this is true or false because I don't know. I just know it's possible. It's highly possible it happens because it happens in other places. For me, the biggest shock, and I mentioned this in the beginning, the biggest shock about this whole Activision Blizzard thing is the suicide. I think that's not a common thing to me. That's something I've never seen or heard of, where somebody has harassed so much at their place of employment that they are driven to suicide. That's not something I'm aware of happening very often, right? We hear about stories of people jumping off buildings and so stressed and they do this and do that. For whatever reason suicide happens, there's so many reasons that we can't really quantify or generalize fairly, right? But in the specific case of a gaming software development company and poor management and poor conditions to drive someone to suicide, that's not something that I gloss over because that one right there is kind of serious. And even in Activision's retort, they said they were kind of mad and they were appalled and offended that they would use that suicide with these accusations. They even said it, like, how dare you say that the suicide was caused by this? Because that provided a genuine shock factor, even to me, who has been exposed to a lot of this stuff, who can be a little bit, pessimistic and indifferent sometimes to a fault to some of these things that happen. That one got a rise out of me. I was like, wow, suicide? Are you kidding me? So this is a story that's going to be followed for a long time. I mean, the Ubisoft one was about, mostly from what I recall, you guys can correct me. The Ubisoft one was more about sexual harassment and just sexual misconduct across the company. This one has that and then some. This is like a potpourri of everything that could possibly. It's like somebody had a detailed report, just like sitting back, just doing all this stuff, right? Just going back and documenting all this stuff. I'm going to put the link in the show description. It is very detailed and shocking that all of this was happening. Mainly the suicide part at Activision Blizzard. And that somebody documented it and that everything is being investigated. Now, let's talk about what's going to possibly happen. This is where people are going to get mad. There is a high chance and a high likelihood, this is my opinion, that from our perspective and from a company impact perspective, a check is going to be written. And that's going to be the end of it. Activision is going to have some tarnish. Not like everybody loves them anyway in social media. Blizzard's going to have even more tarnish than they have right now. Somebody's going to write a check and not much is going to change. Why? Power, money, and influence. I'm telling you, man, it would not surprise me that Bobby Kotick and some guy were playing golf and he got mad that he lost it. So he called his friend to make this happen. That's how petty this stuff can get, man. And they have the power to do it. They have the power to do it. So from our perspective in terms of looking in on the company and how this is going to affect things, not much is going to change from that perspective. Now, people's eyes have been open. People's eyes have been open. So there are some people that were actually blind to this being a possibility. They didn't think it could happen. Even though there's a lot of us, and this is where I get a little bit annoyed, there's a lot of us who've been reporting these things and saying these things happen, and we get dismissed as being a disgruntled employee, or playing a race card, or playing a gender card, or doing all these cards. When we say this stuff is happening, you know, it gets brushed away. But now it's like, oh no, how can this happen? You know, now it's like blown up because it's a lawsuit coming from the state. That annoys me a little bit, because it's not like we're being quiet about it. It's not like people are just sitting back not saying anything. We are talking about it. But money, power, and influence can squash it in a heartbeat. So it's a little bit annoying in that regard. But that is reality. You kids who have never heard of this stuff or never seen this stuff, welcome to adulthood. Welcome to the realities and the harsh realities and the harsh conditions of just being under somebody's thumb. Because this can happen to you. You know, you can be a victim of this type of abuse, and if you go out and speak out, nobody's going to listen to you. It happens all the time. Happens all the time. Like I said, this is not a 2021 thing. This is 40s, 30s. This goes way back. Way back. Stories have been told. People have been accused, falsely accused, for whatever reason. It's been all kinds of stuff happening, right? That's just reality. So you got to exercise some wisdom and try not to put yourself in these situations as best you can. But sometimes you're just there. That's where you are. And if you can, get out. Don't be afraid to quit. For real. That's something that's ingrained in a lot of us growing up, and, you know, the work hard mentality and do the best you can and stuff. Don't be afraid to quit a job, guys. Just your mental health and your livelihood and your dignity, your integrity is worth so much more than a stupid cubicle paycheck. I know. Trust me from experience. Get out. You'll be happier for it. Even if you make less money, there's a 99% chance making less money is going to make you happier. Because money does not equal happiness, despite what the media will tell you. That's how they keep you roped into that stuff. Because they equate power and money with happiness. And that's not true. That's not true at all. Get out. Don't tolerate stuff because you want that promotion, or you've already invested 10 years, 15 years into a company and you don't want that investment to go for. No, write it off. Take some advice from your boy. Write it off. Get out. You'll thank me. Get out. Don't stay there. So this is a sad situation. That all of this is coming to light. And I hope that some positive can come out of it, but it's hard for me to see it. Like, I really think all the outcomes of this are going to lead to nothing. And that's sad, man. I hate thinking like that, but it's like, I want the victims to be not only compensated, but helped. And I want all these other things to happen. But like I said, man, somebody's going to write a check and then it's going to be swept under the rug, especially with a company this big. And also, I also ask you guys to, if someone is playing an Activision Blizzard game after this, don't try to guilt them into changing what they want to do. People do what they want to do all the time. They could be thinking the same thing about you because you use soap, or you buy from Amazon.com. And there's atrocities happening at Amazon.com. Don't judge people and try to pressure them to thinking like you think and taking action like you take action. It's going to make you miserable. Don't do that. Don't go around telling people they shouldn't be doing Blizzard stuff, they shouldn't be doing Activision stuff, because they don't agree with how you think about the situation. Right? We all have our battles. We all have our fights. We all tend to choose, we choose to fight them in our own way. So be compassionate and be understanding. Right? Because reality has a lot of angles and you don't see all of them. You think you do, but you don't. You don't see all the angles. So try to be compassionate as much as you can. Spread the word about it. Tell people about it. Let them know. Tell them that this is happening so they can be aware, and then they can make their own informed decision. That's all I want to say about it right now. We're going to be following the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing's lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. Like I said, I hope some really positive things come out of it, but I'm not holding my breath because reality is harsh, sadly.